Just when America has reached a breaking point with division, visionary influencer Danni Benson's I'm Proud of You Sis bro movement taps into the pulse and heartbeat of a culture radically torn. But this loving mom's voice of reason and calm has received national recognition.
How do you balance having your children and always traveling with the Yankee organization?
When I became a dad, I said that I would always love like a mother.
I feel like I have to try certain things or act a different way because I know some people or some kids.
So join Danni Benson as she celebrates her special guests on her show and highlights their gifts and contributions to our world.
I am so proud of you, bro. Like, I'm surprised you don't
I'm
have
proud of you, sis.
Yo, why don't you have your own podcast?
I've thought about it. You know, it's really about finding the time. It's so tough because I'm flexible most days, but for the most part, like I have my days, like I have all the things that I'm going to be doing. You know, if there's nothing planned for a day, I lose my mind. I quickly go and put things in there. So to have a podcast, I would have to now have a day that's not as flexible so I could have that time where it's just cut out just for that. So I haven't done it, but I've definitely attempted a few times. I've always, from the moment podcast got introduced, I was like, man, I think this is my thing. And then it was just really figuring out, what do I want to talk about? What do I want to do? What do I do? You know, and I just never got around to doing it. And I just got so busy with just life. So I just never got into it, but I would love to. I would love to one day have, honestly, my dream, a couple things I want to do before they put me 6 feet under. I want to be an acclaimed author. Because growing up, that's all I did was write. I love my mom, but one of the biggest gripes I have with her, and I spoke to her like 10 years ago about this. I go, hey, mommy, you know, I used to write a lot when I was a kid. She goes, yeah, you did. We'd be at a restaurant, you think something's funny, you just grab a napkin, you write all the stuff down. I go, so what did you do? Like when you saw that? She's like, well, nothing, I didn't stop you. I go, you didn't encourage me either.
How did she help you that talent? Like, how did she help you bring that talent out?
No, that's the point of what I'm trying to say, Danny, is that she didn't. So for me, it's always been like, what if I had someone that did that for me, that had my back? You know, she was just very much, again, working, going to work, coming home, making sure we got our work done. That was it. She did put us in programs. She kept us busy. I'll say that. And it's important to keep the kids busy because the worst thing for anyone is idle time.
Yeah.
Because now they get used to just wasting time.
My kids
so, yeah, so she kept us busy. We were in acting classes and whatnot. And then later on, I became an athlete, joined the track team. I was pretty dominant at that.
Well, did you ever tell your mom that you want to be a writer, or you wanted her to see what you were doing to say, hey, you could be a writer?
Well, Danny, that's the thing, right? Most kids don't. Sure, you ask them what they want to be, and they say something crazy. You know, I remember when my son was young, when he was in like pre-K, because cops used to come and give like little talks at the pre-K. You asked him what he wanted to be. He's like an officer, and I looked at him just like, no. No shade against NYPD, but
you know what it is. You kind of are what you're exposed to, or what you.
Yeah.
Your mom was an immigrant. You know what? My parents did the same thing too. My parents were working all the time too. It was that time. They didn't have. They only knew what they knew.
Yeah.
Right.
I wish my mom saw it because she knew it. Because when I brought it up to her, I had never spoken to her about it for ever. So for the fact that I brought it up and she was like, oh yeah, you should write all the time. Just kind of like, so then what did you do to encourage this, Mom? Did you put a writing program? But the thing is, I already know the answer because it's my life experience. I know she didn't do anything for me. But then when I went to college, I minored in creative writing, and my whole idea was I wanted to write for television. But then I ended up being in front of the television because of this annoying personality that I have.
Well, let me just tell you something about life before we wrap this up.
Yeah.
You can still be an author.
Yeah, no. I'm working on a book. I'm writing. I still write. I definitely still write.
Is it a nonfiction? What type of book it is?
It's really a cautionary tale. But it is very much a true story that I'm going to say is not true, but it's true. It's one of those things where we're just kind of like, I hope this isn't true because it's a horrible story. But me being, fun, I'm going to make it a fun thing. Like I don't want anyone to hate any of the characters, even though I personally hate any of the characters. I want Because the thing is, we're all three-dimensional. You know, we all aren't just one thing. We all have so many layers to ourselves. And the person that I'm writing about, this person was horrible during this period of this person's life. That doesn't mean they're going to be horrible for the rest of their life. They could change who they are, or not. They could double down and just be an asshole for the rest of their life. But however you meet someone, that's not who they're going to be forever. That's just who they are for now.
Really? You think
God
so?
knows. I think so.
You don't think people have certain characteristics that is going to just always be that?
But what I'm saying is that those characteristics could evolve into something else. It could evolve into something worse or evolve into something great. You know, because for me, like one of the things for me, I noticed that I have tone issues when I'm talking to people, and I could sound very condescending, but I'm aware of it. And I really think long and hard before I say something and how I'm going to say it. Because I've heard that my entire life. Like, it's not what you said, it's how you said it. I'm just like, oh my God. For me, it's annoying. I'm just like, ignore the tone and listen to the message, please. Listen to the goddamn message. But it's hard for certain people to ignore the message if they just.
But as human nature, we listen to the tone because.
Sorry, easy. It's that dog. You're allergic to that dog. You need to get rid of Nugget.
No, I've been sick. You guys have been.
Well, you look good, girl. You don't look sick at all.
I've been pushing through. No, it's a difference between an exclamation point, that's a tone, and a period, that's a tone. Yep, you understand what I mean? So if you say it as a period, that's a tone. But if you're saying it with an exclamation point, that means like there's some roof behind it. So how are you saying it? You're saying with a roof behind it, or you just saying it with a period, and this is like it is what it is? Yeah.
So I speak a lot with periods. Even when I text, there's always a period at the end of the sentence. Like
Yo, I don't even put punctuation. That's why I think they created emojis. Because people that wasn't putting no punctuation, so you put like a prayer sign, the laugh sign. I don't know. Like I don't do punctuation.
I'm a sucker for good grammar. Like I need to. Yep.
Well, thank God that Apple phone has grammar on it. I'm sorry. I'm a Gemini. I'm just like.
Some of my closest friends are Geminis.
Really?
Oh yeah, I think Libras and Geminis get along. I'm not sure if that's what the zodiac chart says.
No, we do. Honestly, we do get along. That's why I prayed that my kids would be Libras. I was like, please be Libras, please. Because
you prayed right after that countdown, right? 10, 9, 8.
Yeah. I did. But you gotta remember the next day everyone is off in America, mostly everyone. So it's just like you got time to like what are you even talking about this right now?
Talk about your conception date or your podcast.
Oh my God, because my kids are still asking me, like, Mommy, where did we come from? I'm like, oh my God, this conversation is going to happen.
There's a great book, Danny, and I'd love for your followers to know about it too, especially the ones with children. It's called It's Not the Stork, and it teaches parents. It's a good book to read with your kids to teach them about sex and the birds and the bees. It's called It's Not the Stork. I have it for my son. If you haven't, if you've been using nicknames to describe body parts, stop. Call them what it is, so you could have that conversation so it won't feel weird. And the more you read it with them, because it's a quick read. And the thing is, kids, when they're around 9, 10 years old, they're interested. They want to know. Their friends are talking about it. So they want to know. So it's best that they get that information from you and not from their friends who are also 10 years old making things up. But yeah, It's Not the Stork. Great book. You get it on Amazon. I think it was like $15.
You know what's scary is because my kids are 10 and they're starting to talk about the birds and the bees. And we were walking out of the mall and there was a couple kissing and they were like, oh my God, they're sexing. I was like, what? No, we sexing. So I now have to have this conversation with them now. I'm like, you're 10. I was trying to protect you. What do you mean they're sexing? Oh my God. This world, you know what it is? I have girls, and I think raising girls is different than raising boys.
Oh, it's completely different. I get the whole thing that they're trying to make everyone equal, but we're not the same people. Men and women, boys and girls are so different. You see it when they're born, how different girls are from boys. You see it as a parent, how different fathers are from mothers. It's just we're not the same. Like, and the thing is, I hate when, and it happens in the Black community a lot, where they try to pit us against each other, men versus women. And it's just kind of like, guys, I don't know if you realize, but we all kind of need each other. Men need women,
Okay,
women need men.
so let me ask you a question, because this is gonna be we're gonna do a part 2. This is the part 2 now. I need you for another hour.
Okay, let's go.
Producer, another hour. Don't worry, I got you in the back end, Bobby.
Thanks, Bobby.
Because he's here. You can walk away. I just want you to record this so we have this. What is the issue in our Black community that all the cultures know that they need each other, and in our community, it's just like it's men versus women. It's like we're not together. It's a what is it? Because we're not going to be able to grow as families if there's so much opposition with each other, with the sexes.
So I think it's one, as bad as it sounds, I don't think it's ever going to be solved in our lifetime, if it's ever going to be solved, period. But two, I believe the root cause of it is, when you think about Black people, what's the first thing? Well, I don't want to say that, but when you think about Black people and Black people's plight, how did it start? It stemmed from slavery. So the effects of slavery don't only affect us when it comes to getting jobs and housing in good communities, but it affects how we look at each other. Because when it came to slavery, there's a book that's phenomenal that speaks about what happened after the slaves were freed. A lot of people don't realize that was the worst time to be a Black person, was after they got freed.
Why?
From 1865 to 1930, around upwards to 900,000 Black people went missing. Because this is what happened, and I'll get into the root cause. What happened after slavery was that, one, white people American didn't want the Blacks to be free at all. Abraham Lincoln and his team, they actually proposed to ship them all back to Africa. They had the ships and everything ready. They met with some Black leaders that represented all the Black people. They told them what they thought, what they wanted them to do, how they wanted them to leave. The Black people went, had a meeting with themselves, came back a week later, let Abraham Lincoln and his team know, hey, so none of us have ever been to Africa. I'm from Jersey. He's from North Carolina. He's from so-and-so. We're not leaving. You're going to free us and we're going to stay here. We're going to figure this out. So, let's stop bigging up the 16th president of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, because that guy was just doing what made sense politically. That said, once everyone got freed, they was trying to find a way to get them back as slaves. So the best way to do that was to create these Pianti laws. The Pianti laws, I could be pronouncing that wrong, but these Pianti laws were pretty much little dumb laws. Little laws like you can't walk down the right side of the street past 4 o'clock, like stuff like that, just to lock people up. Now, what happens after they got locked up, it's the most interesting part. Wow. Everyone got the same exact punishment. Everyone was sent to work on the railroads, because now this is the Reconstruction era. They're building all the railroads. All that stuff is happening. So now all these people, back when you had to buy slaves, it was expensive. You have to be rich to have slaves. Everyone could just have slaves. And a lot of people don't realize white people were slaves too. It was just majority Blacks were slaves.
Wait. Let's go back to that. So white people were slaves too?
White people were slaves too, because you have to remember, not every white person was rich. We have poor white people as well. So they couldn't afford slaves, this and that. So a lot of them, not that they were enslaved as bad as the Blacks were.
Is that called indentured servants? Or that's something?
So indentured servitude. But they didn't practice that in the States, at least not to my knowledge, because indentured servitude, for most people, is about the span of 7 years. A lot of these people, for the most part, if you were born a slave, you died a slave. That was it. That was the biggest difference between slavery in America and slavery everywhere else.
So indentured service has to do you were just a slave for a period of time.
Correct. It was almost like a contract.
Did you have to you had to pay a debt? Is that what it was?
So a lot of the times that's how they worked out their debt. Correct. It would be 7 years for at this farm or whatever. That said, slaves, after they got freed, they tried to find a way to lock all these people up. Now, slaves were expensive. To have a slave was expensive. Now, once slavery was over and people went to jail, they started locking people up in these record numbers, and they all had to work with railroads. These railroad companies, they could rent one of these workers for $12 a month. So now, because I know it's 2023 now, you think $12 is nothing.
Well, do you think that's what's happening right now?
Well, it hasn't changed. It hasn't stopped the whole pipeline.
No, because they're saying the new, jail of course, people are committing crimes. I get it. But there's a
Yeah.
proportionate amount of Black people in jail versus other races.
Well, yeah, keep in
So
mind, because all these jails have quotas. They have, let's say they have 300 beds in that jail. We need 300 beds filled. So we need to keep this packed at all times. That's the only way we make a profit. Now, how do we do that? We could lock people up more, and not only lock them up more, lock them up longer. This thing that you did that's normally 3 to 5 years, now we're going to try to get you 5 to 8. Try to get you there longer, and that's what happens, and that's what tends to happen to Black folks, which really sucks. But back to the Reconstruction era. So now these people get freed. Now they get thrown in jail for doing little stupid things. Sometimes they didn't even do anything. They just get arrested. And then they will get sanctioned off to these railroad companies that would rent them for $12 an hour. Now, because they were renting them for $12 an hour and they had no allegiance to them, because it's not like they're going to stay working with them forever, they worked them to the bone. And they didn't keep good records of these people. So a lot of them would just die there at the railroad, and they would just bury them underneath all the stuff, all the rubble. And that's how 900,000 Black people went missing in those 50 years from being freed till like the Great Depression, which was insane. So that said, the root problem between Blacks here in America and why they're so man versus woman, the way they broke the slaves, how they did it, they realized that the women, shout out to y'all, you guys were stronger than the men, not physically, but mentally. So what they would do to get them on the same page, they would make sure the woman was relaying information. They made her the king of the castle. Because they broke the men down and they propped the women up. And then a lot of the times these people were getting separated. So you're separated from your husband. You're separated from whoever these men were. And then I kind of stayed, sadly enough, a tradition in these Black homes as we continue to progress and slavery continued, and then slavery wasn't no longer a thing. For men to be absent became the norm, and women had to be strong. Now you have tons of families full of weak men and strong women. So you're creating this very unfortunate dichotomy where now you have women thinking they're better than men, or thinking that they don't need the man. Men thinking like, well, I could do better over here, do that, which is why it's so easy for a Black man to just get up and go. It's almost like in the blood at this point now. And that's why it's beautiful when you see people try to stay together. These Black families try to stay together, and it's important that you pay attention. I love the fact that you have programs like Black Dads, whatever, that are pushing up the father figure of the Black man, because it was destroyed due to slavery.
That's why I'm so proud of you, because there's more great dads and not great dads when it comes to our community, and African American, Caribbean, Black. And I hate the fact that they always they stick on this, like, the dads are not in the home, dads are not in the home, they're not, Black dads are not good dads, because then it brings more of a stigma to you guys. It's another stigma. They already say that you guys are crime, like, Black and Black crime, you guys are not present in the home. I mean, how does it feel to be a Black man in America?
I mean, it's interesting. To be honest with you, I feel like a superhero.
Oh, okay.
Good. I feel like everyone's gunning for me. I'm a superhero, especially being a Black person. First of all, to be a Black and brown person in the world today, forget the color. To be a person living right now, this is the best time to ever be alive on Earth. And 10 years from now, that'll be the best time to ever be alive on Earth. The fact that we can communicate with each other. We're not even in the same room right now. We're having this conversation. You're where you are, I'm where I am. And then on top of that, it's being shown on this platform so other people can now take this knowledge in. The fact that can happen is amazing. The fact that you can hop in your car and go drive and that's amazing. All that stuff is amazing. The things that I know it's so common for people to really focus on the things that they're lacking, but I really wish people could focus on the things that they have already, because there's a lot of homeless people struggling. And I know you being in New York, you see them just like how I see them.
And I got to share the story with you. God is always watching me, so I always have to heed to God. I went to Walgreens, right? Because of my daughter had like a little rash like at 12 o'clock at night and she couldn't stop. So I called my cousin. My cousin she's a PA. Shout out to No IG Trish.
Oh, Trish!
Trish,
I keep on
yeah.
forgetting that y'all all related.
Yeah. No IG
Trish
Trish.
is dope. She's so dope.
Yeah, she's so dope. So then they saw a homeless woman sleeping on the floor because it was freezing. So with me, I'm so used to seeing homeless people. So I go inside, I get the product. Both my daughters bring a blanket. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm not buying that. It was like, no, it's not for us. I was like, okay, who's it for? It's like, oh, it's for the homeless person that's sleeping outside. And I looked at them, I was like, we don't got no money like that. Like, that's the first thing I said to myself. And then I felt like the pharmacist was like a messenger from God because the pharmacist gave me this look. It's like, you better get those blankets. I felt like it was like a movie or something. So I got the blankets.
It's a good feeling.
I got the blankets because I felt like it was a teachable moment for my girls, and it was probably a teachable moment for me. They went and they put the blanket on the homeless person. Now the pharmacist kept telling me they might jump, and I was so scared, but it was a teachable moment because the second blanket that my daughter put on her, she got up and she said, "God bless you." And all I could see my kids do was grin like this. Like they know they did like a great job.
Yeah.
And I realized that you have a son, I have a child. I feel that we have to put humanity back, and it starts with our children.
Yep. I completely
The reason
agree.
that we see the world so negative is because you're right. Maybe we do need to travel more because we're so stuck in our rut every single day, paycheck to paycheck, trying to pay bills. We get taxed on our check. I feel like 2 days out of 3 days or whatever, 7 days, whatever, we get taxed. It's like tax to go over the bridge. It's like we're constantly this adult crap. I never knew it was gonna be so much. And if it's so much on us, it's so much on everyone, and everyone seems so angry. Like I think we need to remember what humanity was, because I love your positivity when you just said, like, look, it's great today, 10 years from now is going to be great, because I had the opposite effect. I feel like 10 years from now it's just going to get worse.
Yeah.
I
mean, certain things will probably will be worse than 10 years, but in terms of just where we are in society and the day-to-day comfortability that we have now, the fact that we're not living in caves, the fact that you can have a jacket to stay warm, you can get a blanket and do all these things. But, it starts from your work ethic, and it's important. It's so great that your twins get to see how hard you work, because they say when it comes to kids, and this is insane that I hope it's not true, but I read it somewhere. It's from an article. I wish I could reference it right now, but I can't remember the outlet. But they said kids' work ethic is already determined by the time they're 6, 7 years old. Their work ethic for the rest of their life.
Oh my God.
How they're going to be. Isn't that
No.
crazy?
No.
Yeah. So whoever they are right now, that's it.
Every kid is on their iPad. You know what? That's probably why they created AI.
Have you ever heard that program? I just heard about it yesterday. It's called Wait Till 8th, where they're trying to encourage parents to wait until their kids are in 8th grade for them to get a phone and those sort of things. And I wish, because I hate the phone. I didn't want my son to get a phone. His mom got him a phone when he was 7, going on 8. I really didn't like it at all.
I call the phone thing the 9/11 effect. I think before that, kids didn't have phone, but after 9/11, everybody was like, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? And kids couldn't get to their parents. I think after that, parents felt more secure just getting them a phone. So if something happens, they can call them right away. I think that's what happened. And it's a bad effect, because I think, look, let's go back to the black man and black woman. I just want to know, I know you said that it's not going to get better. When do you think that we're going to break this generational trauma? Because we do need each other, and we do need to raise our kids together, whether we're married, committed, co-parenting, and men do need to realize, like, this regardless of if they wanted to have this child or not, the child is here now. So therefore, you have the responsibility as a parent, whether you like the mother or not, to still be part of the child's life. If the mother is giving you a difficult time, try to come to a middle ground place where you can be involved. How can we change this? Because it's destroying our kids' future. Like they need the support of two parents, because
Well,
it's
I think the
what are we
best
gonna
thing,
do?
I think the best thing, like this is what I wish my mom did,
Okay.
because my family has a very interesting dynamic. For every one boy, there's about 7 girls. So, like, go to my family functions. Let's say there's 40 people, which there usually is around 40 to 50 people at like any given Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say 85% of those people are going to be women, maybe 90%. And it's usually like me and a couple of my male cousins, but that's about it. So, one thing I wish that she did, because having two parents is important. I don't think it really matters the gender. Like, let's say, because there's some families that are 2 moms and 2 dads. So it
Yeah,
doesn't.
yeah.
I don't think it really matters the gender. I think it's really more so on the perspective, to have 2 different perspectives is what's really
Mm-hmm.
important.
Mm-hmm.
That said, it's important that if there is a parent that's missing, to make up for that is getting your child involved in some sort of program, whether it be athletic, whether it be intellectual, something where it's being run by somebody of that sex that's missing, or just somebody you think is dope. So I wish that my mom had me around. One, I wish she started me off in sports earlier, because then I would have been around boys more. And I would have, most coaches for sports are men. So now I would have had that man that's talking to me. Because growing up, I was actually very uncomfortable around men. I didn't start getting comfortable around men until like my late 20s. I was always very comfortable around women, because for me, I'm just like, I was surrounded by it.
I
I
know.
literally came into this world with one of y'all. So I'm very
I know.
comfortable around women, the opposite sex. But the same sex is what I used to struggle with, especially because I didn't feel like I had a lot of stuff in common with them. Because I was never your typical boy. Like, first and foremost, because I could be so eccentric with certain things, some people thought I was gay, and I'm not. I love women, but I'm a great dancer. I'm not afraid of looking silly. And I'm also not afraid of looking, I guess, coming off as gay, even though I'm not gay. Like, I've never been that guy just like, no, I didn't do that. I didn't say that. I could care less. I don't care. I do not care. Because for me, gay is a life choice. It's a sexual thing you do. Whatever I just did was not gay.
Yeah.
However I
Yeah.
present is not
Yeah.
gay.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
like gay for me is literally a sexual thing. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the whole idea of just like, I was always comfortable in my own skin. Like, it's props to my mom.
You know what people would say? Maybe because you were around a lot of women, then you tend to be more feminine. That's what
Yeah.
men would say.
Yeah.
Because
It's,
you
no,
didn't have
it's
a
true.
you didn't
No,
have a
no.
dad. You didn't have a dad there.
But
So
Danny, it's
you
true.
pulled in the feminine traits.
It's true. I used to be very argumentative. And by used to me, I mean still am. So, and I definitely got that from being around a lot of women, but I would have to curve myself and
Are you
tell
saying
myself,
women argue?
sorry, I meant you guys like a healthy debate. That's, you guys love healthy
Oh
debates.
wow. Okay. No, I get yo, keeping it real. I get it. I
But
get
for the
it.
most part, most men aren't
Because
just
men
talking
are
and popping off at the
simple.
mouth.
Because men are simple. Because when you even
Yeah.
talked about your waffles, your pancakes, your bacon, men are just very. I gotta put lotion on. Men are very simple creatures.
Yeah.
They're not complicated at all, right?
Yep.
And I wish when a man says something, he means it. When a woman says
For the most
something, you
part.
have to. Yeah, meaning like a man is probably
When
just
a-
straightforward.
Wait, what
When
you
a
about to
woman
say? When
says
a woman say something, what?
you gotta. It's like a coding thing. It's like you're coding and like, what do you really mean? Like when we say, oh, you know how to open it, we really mean open it.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't
No,
have to do that. Like we're not
I
direct as men.
I remember reading somewhere in this book about men and women, how to speak to women. It was helping out men. It said that you have to keep in mind when a woman speaks, when she tells you a thought, it's almost like a cloud, and that is going to change as soon as the wind blows.
I mean, we're very indecisive. I get it. We are. I'm not speaking for all women. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not that I'm indecisive. I think I'm a people pleaser. So
Ah,
I want something, but I'm also empathetic to think about, always want to think about what the other person wants too. So I want to choose something, but I'm like, oh, maybe if they want this one too, let me. So that's what
yeah.
makes me indecisive. You know what I mean? But I know there's challenges between men and women. I know there is. And I just want the family unit to be back, however it looks like. We
Yeah.
don't
No, I
have to
would love
have
that
the,
too.
you don't have to be, okay, something you might not agree with me with. You don't have to be married
Uh-oh.
to have a commitment.
You
Um,
don't. I agree with you with that. I do
okay.
prefer if someone was married. Like I wish I was married. I mean, I'm happy I'm not because it would have been a horrible divorce. I actually was
Why? Because you're
engaged.
petty? Because you're petty? What
So,
do you mean
well,
horrible
we're,
divorce?
we're both, her and I are both petty. So so I was in a 14-year relationship with
Wow.
the mother of my child. We were actually engaged to be married. And 2.5 months before the wedding, I canceled it. It was a destination wedding in Jamaica, big thing. So I canceled it, sent out an email. I remember, I'll never forget. This was April 20th, 2017 or 2018. So it was 420. So I emailed all the guests. Keep in mind, I was the one that was keeping up and emailing everyone, and I had an event plan and everything. But for me, I was very big on communication because I'm a
An
communicator.
organization.
Correct. I'm a very organized individual.
I
And when it
could
comes to
tell.
events, that's my thing. So half the wedding was not even half of it, like 90% of the wedding, I planned it. I had like an air for like, we should do this, we should have this, we should do this. And my ex, she knows I'm in this, so she wasn't fighting me on anything. It was very much just like, all right, sounds good. All right, sounds good. Cool, great. But when it was time to cancel, I emailed everyone. I go, happy 420, wedding's off. That was it. No explanation, no nothing. But you know what
Why'd
happened
you
after that,
call off the
Danny?
wedding? What happened?
Well, I'm happy we called it off because we had
Okay,
a lot of
but what happened after
unresolved.
that? Wait.
So
What happened after that?
what happened after that was that because I was so great and so great at being organized, most when it comes to destination weddings, the average destination wedding is between 25 and 35 guests. My wedding count, our count was upwards of 100 people, with the people flying in, and then my family that's already in Jamaica that was coming up to Montego Bay. Now, what ended up happening, because this was April of 2018, I made sure everyone who was coming had their stuff booked from the October before that April. So everyone already had this in their calendar blocked off for the last like 8 months. So
Mm-hmm.
once I canceled it, it was still enough time for them to get their money back. But everyone emailed me back like, "Hey, Kev, I'm so sorry about what happened. I got the email, but we still want to go to Jamaica." So I ended up flying down to Jamaica, and the bride to be flew down to Jamaica with like 50 something people
Wait. You and the bride to be.
on the same plane. All flew down to
Wait,
Jamaica.
wait. But the wedding is
My
canceled.
ex, wedding's canceled. I emailed the hotel, let them know everything is canceled. We get there.
Wait. How was she able to do that though? As a bride, you just canceled on her wedding.
Well, her and I,
Yeah,
like I said, we were so good because at this point now we had so many ups and downs in that 14-year relationship. And
of course.
what's difficult about having a 14-year relationship that started out with people so young is that if you don't grow together, you're gonna die together. So we didn't grow
Mm,
together at all. I was very ambitious. Not saying that she isn't now, but she wasn't when I needed her to be, and I didn't have the patience for her to wait for her to be that way. So we
mm.
definitely knocked heads a lot
Clash.
on that
Yeah,
front.
yeah,
And I would tell her
yeah.
like my idea, like, oh, I think I want to do this now, do that. She's, why do you want to do that? So the fact that like her questioning me would bother me. It was kind of like, because I want to be great, because I want to do something
Got
else,
it.
because I want to have another revenue stream. Like, why are you asking? Why aren't you doing
Yeah,
anything?
yeah.
And then
So she was like a dream, like she was like a Debbie Downer when it came to your dreams.
for me, like the type of person I am, bright personality, this and that, having somebody like that, especially the person like right next to me that's supposed to be,
You
bigging
like
me
supposed to
up,
be a cheerleader. Like, yeah,
And the thing is, I
yeah.
will say over the years, I probably made her that way just from just not being the greatest guy over those years and just her just having these thoughts because she always saw me as a rising star. Like she would tell people we'd be in the cabs going someplace. She goes, "Oh, my boyfriend is this. My boyfriend is that. He warms up the Wendy Williams show. He missed the movie phone. He does like she loved talking about me." But then that all started just dying out as the relationship progressed. And she didn't really find her stride until after we broke up. I'm finding out through the grapevine how great she's doing and this and that. Because, like I said, we co-parent, but we don't talk. We co-parent, but all we do is talk about our child. I don't know anything that's going on in her life. She doesn't know anything that's going on in my life. Correct. I started dating someone.
14 years, but 14 years of friendship or a relationship, you
But I
guys
will
can't
say,
find a
Danny,
place.
we didn't have the friendship. I don't think that we had the friendship. Like, we stopped respecting each other a long time ago. And for me, I'll tell you what the final nail in the coffin was for me. I probably should have ended things there. But when she didn't finish college, it really bothered me because I finished and I just wanted a partner that you just want somebody that's your equal, because the people that tend to have the biggest problems in relationships are the ones that are in relationships with people that are not on the same level as them.
So like not equally yoked.
Yeah, so we weren't equal when it came to our intelligence, even though she presents as very smart and intelligent person, but on paper, like I was far superior than her because not only did I go to college, like I told you, I was like the man. Like I was the poster child for St. John's University at one point. I just went there 2 weeks ago for an event. You best believe they took a picture of me and posted it on their thing right away because they know who I am. Like, oh, that's Kevin.
Well, they're proud. They're proud. Like, look where you are right now. Like, of course,
But
of course.
But I really did something changed in me and my feelings towards her once she dropped out of college. It really bothered me, and I probably should have ended things there and been honest with myself. Because now the girl that I'm with now, she's actually she's superior than me when it comes to education. She went and got her master's. I'm like, oh, excuse me, girl. I don't really need my master's for what I'm doing in my life.
I'm proud of her, sis.
And she's also, strangely enough, my girlfriend who I've been with now for the last 18 months, a year and a half. She's also a twin.
So that means when you have babies, you guys are gonna have twins.
No, Danny. That's not how it works. It's gonna skip our generation. It's going to skip us. Yes, it is.
You don't even know.
It's going to skip us. It is going to skip us.
But that's twins and twins. Like, come on now.
I don't care. It's gonna skip us.
Oh, so you don't want twins? It's going to skip us.
I do not want twins. Absolutely not. I don't know how you do it. No, thank you. I am a good person. I do not deserve twins.
God does not give you anything you can't handle. So I just
people say that. People say that, but I'm watching a bunch of people that God gave stuff to. They can't handle it.
Because they're not listening to God's direction. That's why. Because there's a thing called instincts, and sometimes people go against their instincts. God is not responsible if you don't listen to your instincts. Your instincts is actually your internal map that you were born with when you were born, right? A lot of people go against their instincts. That's why they end up where they're at. If they would follow what their gut is saying, not what the world is saying, then they would be in a better place. And that's how I feel. I think a lot of people listen to the chatter of the world, and I feel like your gut tells you what to do. But the world is so noisy that you feel like, but what about if they're right? No. It's what you got to do for you, what's right for you, because you're the only one that's going to be crying in a corner by yourself. You're the only one that is going to be in that shitty situation by yourself. People could give you advice all you want. They go home and they go home to their family and their friends, and you got to live with your decision. That's what I tell people all the time. Go with your gut, because at least you can live with yourself, because you can't blame other people for decisions. You know how people say, do this, and you do it. And then the next thing they say when it messes up, well, I didn't tell you to do that.
Yeah.
There's no ownership in advice. Like, people give you advice, but people don't want to own the advice. Right?
Yeah. That sparked three things for me just now. So
what?
So when I'm out there, I don't know if you're into stand-up comedy, but I love stand-up comedy. I grew up watching so much stand-up comedy. And on my Mount Rushmore stand-up comedy, I have Richard Pryor, because I feel like he's the godfather. He birthed all these babies. Eddie Murphy's up there as well. Then I have Bernie Mac. And then the fourth one, I always go back and forth on who I want to be the fourth one on there. But those three guys are solidified on my Mount Rushmore. That said, Eddie Murphy, he has a very interesting story about advice. He was an up-and-coming comedian. At this point now, he wasn't really up-and-coming. People knew him, but he was, in his mind, he was still, still hustling. Still doing his thing. Sure, yes, I'm on Saturday Night Live. I get that. But I still want to do this. I want to do that, So that's who he was. And one day he's there doing his thing, and a comedian that was more successful than him at the time, he surpassed him and everyone else in that genre. Rodney Dangerfield told him, hey, kid, you probably should stop cursing so much. It's not good. Because Before, people like Richard Pryor, comedians didn't really curse. They weren't. There was no such thing as a dirty comedian. Richard Pryor introduced that into the fold,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
outbirthed these comedians, the Eddie Murphys and the Red Foxes of the world. Now, fast forward months later, Eddie Murphy, as big as he was then when Rodney Dangerfield met him, he was even bigger now. They're both performing at the same place. Eddie's the headliner. Eddie's in the bathroom, using the bathroom. Here comes Rodney Dangerfield, walks in, he's in the bathroom. They're both at the urinal. Rodney Dangerfield looks over at him, and he just simply says, "Who knew?" You know, because Eddie didn't change at all. Who knew? So when Eddie Murphy was asked about advice he would give to people, he goes, "The best advice is not to take anyone's advice."
There you go.
So when it comes to advice, I like advice. I just don't like unsolicited advice. When someone says, they just start talking to me and telling me what to do without me even asking them, like, cool story, bro. I'm good. So that's how I feel about advice. I don't like unsolicited advice, but I do think advice is important. I think you should only take advice from someone that's doing exactly what you want to do in your life. If you want to be a real estate person and this real estate person is telling you what you should do, listen to that person. You know, especially if they're successful. If you're trying to be a dope track star and this track star is telling you their workout regimen, listen to them. Listen to her. Like, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't steer you wrong. That's
so.
What
do you feel about, like, since you said that, what do you feel about people who comment on social media?
Oh,
like,
I mean,
they say all these comments, they've never been there, they don't know nothing, but they act like they're all like experts. Like, how do you feel about that?
Danny, let me tell you, I am the president of the comment reading committee. I love reading comments. My favorite part, like, especially if I find a meme or a video that has me dying, I'm like, oh, I gotta see these comments. Let me look at them right now. What's interesting about comments is, first of all, there are a lot of funny people in the world, because these comments would have me dying. I hate wasting time on social media, but if I am wasting time, that's what I'm doing. I'm reading comments and just laughing.
Sometimes I be cracking
up. Some of them I save in my notes because they're so funny. I'm like, these people, there's some funny people in the world. But that being said, some of these comments, when you read it, you just realize how hurt this world is, how much people need therapy. And the thing is, it's funny, when my ex and I split up, I went into therapy because I went through a whole whirlwind. It's going to be in the book. I went through a whole whirlwind of things, and I was in therapy, and I remember meeting up with her for like a good, like, months later. It's our first time ever having a conversation. And I'm letting her, and she goes and says to me, "That's why you're in therapy." Like, she said it like with this negative undertone. And it was just so funny that she felt that me being in therapy was a negative
thing. A bad thing.
And it was me. It's like, how you're judging someone that's trying to self-improve.
Better themselves? Yeah. Yeah. Good thing.
Sounds like I made the right decision. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But when it comes to therapy, there's no one person that needs therapy. Everybody needs therapy. Because the thing is, I don't care what age you are, there's going to be something that happens in your life that's so traumatic that is going to set you back, and you need to get realigned with who you are and what you're here to do. Like, I honestly feel, this is going to be a vague thing, but if you go on my website, it says that I was born to make the world smile. And I truly believe I was born to come here and just sprinkle some joy and then get the hell out. That's why I'm here. That said, I could do that in a bunch of different avenues, whether it's parties, which is what a lot of people know me for, whether it be fitness, which is what people will know me for, because I'm going to be dope. Trust me, I already know. I did it already. So I already know how dope I can be.
You are. And you're a perfect example of it, because you eat to nourish, not eat to be full and big.
Yeah, correct. Oh, yeah, correct. But shucks, what was I saying?
No,
you need to figure out. So therapy realigns you with who you are. Because the fact that you're here, whether you were raised by one parent, two parents, 30 parents, I don't care. The fact that you were born, there's like a 1 in a trillion chance of the egg and the sperm even meeting to make you. So clearly, you being here, there's no accident. However you got here, your own superhero. This is your origin story. That's your story. Take it and run with it. Now, what I was saying about people growing and evolving, I get what you're saying, that some people really don't change, and that's unfortunate. Muhammad Ali, who I love, has this great quote saying, if a man believes what he believed 20 years ago, it sounds like he just wasted 20 years of his life. Because if your beliefs don't change, that means you haven't grown, you haven't read, you haven't experienced, you haven't traveled. Now, the reason why I like the idea of traveling, this is to go back to what you were saying, when people are in the same environment, and around the same people, they're sharing the same school of thought. It's called an echo chamber. This person said it, and this person saying the same thing. They all believe the same thing because they all have the same exact life experience. But now when you leave and go to Europe or go to someplace in the Caribbean or go to Asia, go to a different continent from the one that you were born and bred in, you see a different world view. You know, it's almost like being raised by another parent. You know, that's what traveling is. Traveling should be your other parent that raises you, because now that changes. It takes you out of that echo chamber of Brooklyn, Manhattan, wherever you
I
are,
know.
and lets you hear other points of views. And you don't have to travel to do that. You can just go and pay attention to some TED Talks, but that's if you're willing to learn. It's like you have to be willing to do it already, because the information is already there at your fingertips, because you have this in your hand.
I know.
So now what are you going to do with it? Are you just doing it
you
to...
can't even blame if you're poor. Because if you have a
Nope,
cell
you can't
phone,
blame it. It's on you now.
If you have your cell phone, now it's on you. Like you don't have to listen to this music all the time. You can listen to TED Talks. You can listen to this. All the information is in there. There's no excuse for you not to win. Even it tells you how to do things. There's YouTube now. You want to do this? You just put it in. There's no excuses for people not to win anymore. It's you actually wanting to do the work to win. There's no excuse for you to blame your circumstances on the world anymore. You have the power in your hands to change your circumstance. I tell people this all the time, that the power was always within you. You can't wait for someone to recognize and see your power if you don't see it yourself. Like you have to do what you have to do. There's no excuses anymore. This is not back in the day anymore. I understand this poverty. I understand this world sucks. I get it. But we can't live in a society where it's woe is me, because no one's going to come to save you anymore. You have to figure it out.
That's what people need to hear. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to save you.
No one.
You know, it's the truth. Like, no one is coming to save you. There's somebody that's doing way worse than you in life, and they have a different perspective on how they're going to go about doing it. They're still trying to get by. They're still trying to get through the day. The fact that if you have these three needs met, you're living life better than most people. If you have food, you don't have to worry about where your food's coming from or worry about affording it, you're lucky. If you have a place to sleep, you're lucky. If you have people that love you, you are lucky. Those three things right there, everything else now is in your hands. What are you going to do now that you have all the basics solidified for yourself? You're going to stay and complain? Because wherever you are, let me tell you about the next 5 years.
Okay.
The next 5 years are going to be incredible, but that's only if you make it incredible. Or the next 5 years could be exactly the same as the last 5 years if you just keep on doing the same exact thing you've been doing for the last 5 years. It's all about what you're going to do. What are you going to do? Like,
it's all about taking action. I tell people all the time.
Yes, and you have to do it now. People need to move with a sense of urgency. People need to move with a sense of urgency. Because the thing is, yes, you are physically healthy right now. You're doing great. But what if that changes? What if you get hit by a car and now you're in a cast and now you can't do this? What are you going to do? Like, you have to be so strong enough that if that happens, you have the backbone to see yourself through it. Because some people, a traumatic thing happens to them and it snaps them, and that's it. They're done. I will tell you right now, something horrible happened to me. You were talking about your instincts, and it's important for people to go with that gut instinct. It's your thought. Again, I'm not religious, but that is some higher being telling you, stop, go, wait. You know, and something happened to me where I didn't listen. I ignored it. I thought like, no. And then the worst thing that ever happened to me happened to me. I'm not going to go into it too much because it's too serious.
It's in the book.
But it happened to me. It's going to be in the book. But it put a dark cloud over my head for 5 years.
Wow.
Like, it was hard. And there's still days where it's hard for me when I think about what happened. Because the thing is, it's still happening. I just could deal with it a lot better. But you have to realize, like, that thing, you can't have that thing break you. Sure, it could make you go down for a little bit, but you're not down out for the count. The fight isn't over. You're still here. No. If there's still air in your lungs for you to breathe, that means there's still time for you to achieve what you're trying to achieve. So, I mean, that's how I feel. Because again, there are people that are dying today, right now in this moment. And that's it. They're done. There's nothing else they can do. Whether they accomplish what they wanted to accomplish, or they wasted their life, they're done. So now it's up to you to determine how amazing your funeral is going to be. Like, I went to a funeral last year for Pastor Boyd, my grandmother's cousin, and just hearing them list off her things or her different titles. Not that I want to die, but all I'm thinking is like, dang, man, I need to up my game up because I need them to have a whole list of things when I die. I want everyone to be like, damn, you did all that?
I need to leave a legacy that even when I die, I'm always going to be remembered. Not only my kids are going to remember me, but the world's going to remember me.
The world.
Not only my family's going to remember me, the world is going to remember me. This is how I live every single day. How am I going to leave a legacy that not only my family's going to remember me, but communities are going to remember me? Maybe it might not be the world, but I want my fire to still keep going.
That's important. And it's important for your girls.
But what I'm saying with you talking about the funeral, I get what you're saying. Like, you go to a funeral and sometimes people don't even have a long story.
You're just like, this is it. This is it. I mean, everyone's life is special, I guess, but there are some people whose lives are a bit more special than others.
I hear the tone again.
Damn it. Back to therapy I go.
You're going to make people like go slit their throats right now.
You know, because the thing is, look, this is what it is. I don't want people to think of themselves as just a number. And they could easily say, I don't think of myself as just a number. Well, then stop acting like you're just a number. You know, people are walking around as if they're nothing, cannon fodder. But it's just like, no, you are a human being that could change the way things are looked at, change somebody's life, whether it just be one or a ton, just by simply just giving back, showing up, or just taking care of your kids. If that's it, make that be the minimum. Just take care of it. Be present, because those little kids need to be contributing members of the community when they get older. And if you're not teaching them how to do that, then you are failing. You are failing as a parent. You know, I know this podcast is not about parenting, but we keep on talking about it.
No,
we know how important that is.
Parenting is important.
I'm doing junior high school tours right now.
You know what? Parenting is important, especially now more than ever. When I see kids like running the streets, running amok, I feel like, where are your parents at? Like who's guiding you? Like,
not even running the streets. The parties that I do, some of the parties that I do, when the kids are acting out and they have to hire security to keep the boys and thinking, just kind of like, what? Is your mom here? Let's go find your parent right now, because this is insane.
But this is how I feel that's how I feel like that's why we need moms and dads. Because dads are mostly the disciplinary, where you look at your dad and he got this fear in his eyes, you're like, I'm not even gonna go there. Yeah, when you're a boy and you're taller than your mom, he's having testosterone in his body, he's looking at the mom like, what you gonna do to me?
Wait, hold on, Dan. I'm gonna run and get my charger.
No.
Be on for so long.
No. We're gonna be out. Just give all your handles. So we could be out. Yes.
Okay. If you guys want to keep up with me, if you're on IG, I'm at HeyKev, HeyKebbv. That's Instagram. If you are on Facebook, I have an entertainment page, Kevin Thompson, the Entertainer. If you'd like to reach out to me, my email address, HeyKev, again with 3 V's, HeyKev@gmail.com.
And then Kev is a host. He's an entertainer. He's going to write a book. He's a father. And also,
we'll be out in fitness soon.
Guys. So, please reach out to Kev for any of your entertainment needs. He is the go-to when it comes to being the life of the party. I want to say to Kev, thank you so much. I'm so proud of you, bro. I want to give you a cigar. You are an amazing. Thank you for this amazing conversation that we've had. We dipped into everything. So we know that you are an intelligent, educated, well-traveled, smart, beautiful man. So that's why I want the ladies to know that good guys do exist. We just have to work on ourselves to attract those good guys to come to us. And if you see any red flags, run the other opposite directions, because I'm not gonna believe that all men suck, because there's a good man right in front of us right now. So everyone, thank you so much for coming on Proud of You Sis, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys. Bye.